Because Newsom didn't put out a dry legal statement. He produced a movie, The Tremble, the tears, the hand on the heart.
To get me, he's coming after my wife, Jen, a public servant, a woman who's dedicated her life to supporting women and girls. If they can't intimidate me, they'll go after the mother.
I'm a husband too. You come after a man's family and he swings. I respect that.
Leave my wife and family out of your personal vendetta. I'd like to say something to my wife. You have not earned a single one of the indignities that he's trying to inflict on you and our children.
But that's not a man defending his wife. That's a man timing a campaign ad with his wife as the co-star.
And that right there is the part that I need people to understand. This is not just Gavin Newsom defending his wife. No, he's not even really even defending his wife. This is political theater. This is what powerful California politicians do whenever the spotlight finally turns back on them. They don't answer questions directly. They don't open the books. They don't say, here's the record. Here's the money. Here's the explanation. Of course not. What they do is give you emotion. They give you a Hollywood performance. They give you the trembling voice, the hand over the heart. They give you the family angle. They give you the, they're coming after me because I'm dangerous routine. And the reason they get away with it is because California politics, because Hollywood and the mainstream media have been working in the same ecosystem for decades. They protect the image. They protect the brand. They protect the narrative. That's why regular folks in California, like you, like me, we can see the state falling apart. We can see the taxes. We feel the taxes, the homelessness, the crime, the fires, the corruption, the cost of living. But for some reason, when you turn on the news, somehow the people in charge are always framed as the good guys trying their best. Guys, gals, that's not journalism. What that is image management. And guess what? Newsom, he's one of the best at it. He knows how to turn scrutiny into sympathy. He knows how to turn an investigation into a campaign moment. He knows how to make himself look like the victim while the people of California, while people like you, while people like me, are the ones paying the price.
Don't take my word for it. CNN's own numbers guy says the searches jumped 635%.
Up like a rocket, up 635%, a 3-month high. When Gavin Newsom goes out and is talking about Donald Trump and Donald Trump potentially attacking him, it motivates folks to look up Gavin Newsom.
And CNN says it out loud.
Gavin Newsom has used Donald Trump as a foil to catapult himself up to the top tier.
Newsom is using Trump as a foil to catapult himself. The persecution and the campaign, they're the same play.
That's the whole game right there. The persecution is not separate from the campaign. No. The persecution is the campaign. This is how the modern political machine works, especially here in California. You don't just run on results anymore. No. You run on narrative. You run on victimhood. You run on being the person fighting the big, bad enemy on television. And guess what? Newsom understands this perfectly. Because what is he really going to run on? Huh? California's cost of living? What? The homelessness crisis? The fire failures? Is he going to run on businesses leaving? Is he going to run on people getting pushed out of the state? Is Newsom going to run on the high-speed rail disaster? How about the money that disappears in the programs that never seem to fix anything? No, he doesn't want to run on that. He can't run on that. Instead, he turns himself into the hero of a national drama. And this is where the media comes in. The mainstream media does not have to lie for these people every single time. No. Sometimes all they have to do is frame the story in exactly the right way. They decide what gets repeated. They decide what gets ignored. They decide what gets buried. They decide what gets treated like a scandal. For years, Californians were told these politicians were compassionate, they were progressive, they were forward-thinking leaders. But nobody asked where the money went. Nobody asked why nothing got fixed. Nobody asked why the same people and the same donors kept winning. That's why independent media matters now, because the old gatekeepers protected the machine. And now the people are finally starting to see a little bit through the curtain.
Number one, and this is the big one, so listen close. Newsom's own former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, the woman who ran his entire operation, pleaded guilty in federal court. Conspiracy to commit fraud, a false tax return, laundering money through campaign accounts, one of them tied to our buddy Xavier Becerra, who's now running for governor. And here's what a guilty plea actually means, because the news won't tell you. She's not fighting it. She's almost certainly cooperating in a room with federal prosecutors right now, trading what she knows for a lighter sentence. And what did she know everything about? Him. So riddle me this. If this is all just Trump bullying poor Gavin, why did his right hand just fold in federal court? You don't plead guilty to a hoax.
Now that's the part that changes the whole conversation, because Newsom wants everybody focused on Trump. They all want everyone focused on Trump, 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 Trump. He wants everybody focused on emotion. Oh, Newsom, he wants everybody focused on the idea that this is political revenge. But wait, hold on a minute. His own former chief of staff pleaded guilty. That doesn't automatically mean Newsom is guilty of anything, but let's be clear about that. It does mean that this is not just some random conspiracy pulled out of thin air. There's already smoke inside the circle. And that's the part California media never wants to sit with for too long, or just won't sit with for too long. Because once you start asking real questions, you start seeing how the system actually protects itself. The politicians, the donors, the consultants, the nonprofits, the media people, the Hollywood people, the unions, the special interests. They all move around the same ecosystem. And the average person never sees the full picture because the information is filtered before it ever reaches them. That's the cloak. That's why California corruption doesn't always look like a guy with a bag of cash in a dark alley. No. Sometimes it looks like a nonprofit. Sometimes it looks like a campaign account. Sometimes it looks like a foundation. Sometimes it looks like a contract. Public-private partnership, perhaps. And the media tells you not to look too closely because the people involved have the right politics. They have the right politics. They have the right image. They have the right friends, and that's the problem.
And I already hear it. Hey, Ramin, I don't have a foundation or a Marin mansion. Why do I care? Well, here's why. This is the guy who spent years sicking the government on regular people like you and me, churches, gun owners, parents, asking about their own kids, business owners who wouldn't mask up. He weaponized the state against you without even blinking. And now that the badge is pointed at him, suddenly it's tyranny. Suddenly he loves due process and privacy. Spare me, Gavin. You don't get to be the hammer for 6 years and cry when you finally meet a nail.
That might be the strongest line in the entire video, because this is exactly what regular Californians, you, me, what we've been living through. When the government came after churches, business owners, came after parents, gun owners, people who questioned policies, people who said, hold on, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. We were told, shut up, comply. We were called dangerous. We were called selfish. We were called extremists. But now, when the same kind of government power turns towards Gavin Newsom's world, suddenly everybody wants to talk about due process. Everybody wants to talk about privacy. Everyone wants to say things like political weaponization and abuse of power. Where was all that concern when regular people were getting crushed? Where was the media then? Where was Hollywood then? Where were all these brave defenders of democracy when Californians were losing businesses, losing homes, losing trust, and losing their ability to even question the people in charge? That is why this moment matters. Not because we know where the investigation will end, no, because we don't. But because the mask is slipping. The same people who were comfortable using power against the public are suddenly terrified when power gets pointed back at them. And that tells you everything. In California, accountability is only called dangerous when it reaches the people at the top.